Hello, everyone. This is David, Fairly Secret Music. So, two things happened recently that led me down a Rock Candy Records um, rabbit hole. First one was my friend Ryan made me an AOR CD, and that AOR CD had several bands that I couldn't handle just having one song from. And some songs are not on Rock Candy, like a band called Regatta. They are on Modern Rock Classics, I think the label is, out of Australia. Um, some things like Strange Ways may have been on Rock Candy, but there's a Cherry Red box set recently. But um, I also joined a Facebook group called Hard Melodic Rock Addiction. And there are a lot of people on there that are into AOR and other things. But this all led me down a rabbit hole of rock candy music. And a little background with me and Rock Candy. For the longest time, I was like pretty negative on them because I thought they brickwalled their CDs, which they do a lot of like fairly loud mastering. And Icon's Night of the Crime versus my Bear Tracks version, or versus the original. Let me see what it was. um yeah, I got the, I don't know what this is. This album is fantastic. But yeah, Bear Tracks was the label. I'll let you see that. I bought Night of the Crime and compared it. This album is now Japanese Universal Japan CD that has come out recently. This one and their first one, actually, probably the third one, right between the eyes, also is being released through Universal Japan too. So if that Bear Tracks one didn't have lyrics, then I would probably buy those, because at one point I got a used copy of Night of the Crime and did a comparison because I heard clipping in especially in the bass on some songs, and I decided I didn't like it, and so I kind of avoided Rock Candy stuff, which is kind of a flaw, because I remember there being a lot used at a record store that is local. Um, Most of that stuff was like the Dock Inn and the Night Ranger and Rat. So I probably wouldn't have bought those anyway, because I like the original versions just well enough. By the way, I did do some trimming with this beard, so if you have watched recent videos, you'll notice that I don't look like Santa Claus anymore. Um, but those two things, as I said, led me down this Rock Candy rabbit hole. So this is why this video exists, because that label, uh, depending on how you feel about mastering, depending how you feel about the fact that their CDs don't come with any lyrics, and I'm a stickler for I really want lyrics, but they do come with liner notes, which is awesome. So at least it's not like a Wounded Bird thing where it comes with like kind of minimal stuff. There are a couple other labels that do pretty decent things. There's a new label. Um, I cannot remember what they're called, but they did The Awful Truth. They've recently done, I believe, some Hellstar stuff. I don't know about those masterings, except for The Awful Truth sounded very, very close to the original, maybe a little boost in volume, and I would much rather have that and then get some lyrics that might not have been in there before. Another company was called Bad Reputation. They did like Lion, Trouble in Angel City, um, Royal Court of China. geared and primed. So I have a few of theirs. Let me see if I have Royal Court of China sitting right here. Yeah, so Bad Reputation is another one that's pretty decent. I don't know what that Awful Truth label is. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now because I wasn't planning on talking about it. So this is, I will show you what I just got from Rock Candy and then what I already had. And I love the fact that if you're looking through your Rock Candy CDs or looking for the Rock Candy CDs in your collection, you can always look for the little skull at the top. It makes it really easy to find. So let's talk about the stuff that I got in my order today, all the way from the UK, which is awesome. And by the way, if you order directly through Rock Candy, worldwide shipping, they give it to you for free. So that is awesome because I ordered 13 CDs and I can't imagine what the shipping costs on that were. So first band, Wireless. One other thing, my friend Rob and I were talking about the huge sticker, the huge hype sticker that they put right on the actual jewel case. Do we like it? Do we like it or not? And the funny thing is, when I was going through these 13 CDs, 2 did not have it directly on the thing. And so I peeled one of them off, successfully put it on there. The other one started tearing, so I just had to cut it out and put it under the jewel case. So Wireless were a band from Canada. They had one album, then they got signed to Anthem, which is Rush's label. And after the kind of failure of this making any money or whatever, they were going to, just end the band. Geddy Lee said, "Hey, you guys, I love your stuff. Let me produce you." And I would have gotten their third one because that's also a Rock Candy one. I have to try to find it elsewhere. But it was for sale on Rock Candy for $42. All the rest of these were like roughly $15 with the conversion. So Wireless, this album is called Positively Human, Relatively Sane. And this has former members of Max Webster, I believe. Let me see here. I thought so. Produced by Max Webster bassist Mike Takeda and boasting 9 tracks of superlative yet quirky hard rock. Yeah, this band is kind of weirdly proggy and sorry, I don't know what's going on with my just tickle on my nose. But kind of proggy, kind of whatever. Just check them out. 707. People will know this band from the title track, I Could Be Good For You. I love the fact that that light is like making that go like that. It looks like it's shining off. This was the sticker that was on the cellophane. So I peeled it off and put it on there because I was like, every one of my other Rock Candy CDs, or almost all of them, have that on there. So heck, I'll just put it on there. Normally I'll keep the hype sticker. I'll actually add it to the artwork someplace because I know if somebody gets my CDs after I'm long gone and dead, it's going to irritate the shit out of them, and that sort of makes me happy because they'll be like, oh, they put the hype sticker on the artwork and they ruined it, and fuck you, who cares? So I ended up getting, this was the one where I had to take it and I had to put it below. So I got they had a package deal, where if you got all 3 707 CDs, you got them for £29.99 or whatever. This was a band that, and again, except for Wireless, all these bands were on that AOR CD that my friend Ryan made me. Harlequin. I was just talking to my buddy Rob today. We went and bought some CDs. I got like how many CDs was that? 7 CDs and a box set for $55. It was great. But we were talking about this because we were listening to that AOR CD, and I said, "Oh, Harlequin was one that I decided to pass on." And I got the box today, and lo and behold, I had 2 Harlequin CDs in there, which I'm actually really happy that I totally forgot about them. So this one is called One False Move, and this is Love Crimes. Love Crimes was one of the songs that he put on that AOR CD. Of course, 707, the song that he put on there was I Could Be Good For You. Anyway, and then LaRue, who started out life as Louisiana LaRue, and they have a couple albums, I believe, before they changed their name to just LaRue. This one is Last Safe Place, and then this one is Up. But the song that he put on, let's see, Carrie's Gone, off of the So Fired Up album. Whew, if you're going to just get one of these albums, I would highly recommend this one. Or if you're going to start with one of their albums, just get this one, because Carrie's Gone is such a great song. Yeah, I'm not talking too much about histories of the bands because I don't know a lot about these guys. The one song that kind of started, because I was like, do I need to buy a bunch of AOR stuff? Do I need to buy a bunch of Rock Candy stuff? Because they're not cheap, you know. Usually they roughly around $15.99 to $18.99 in the United States. With a conversion, I think they're at $12.39, but that was in pounds. So it roughly ends up being, I don't know, like 15 something. All of this stuff, all of these 13 CDs ended up being like $207 with free shipping. So, but Touch was the thing that basically made me go, oh shit, I need to buy a bunch of stuff. And Don't You Know What Love Is, so good. I guess they have another album, or maybe a demo type album. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't look really deep into other things because this was the one that I needed. That song is so awesome. One song that I don't think he had on that AOR CD was Channel, and this band has a guy named Gary Ferguson is on drums, which is kind of weird. I cannot place where Gary Ferguson is from, but when I was listening to samples on they don't have samples on Rock Candy, but I was listening to samples of this, and I was like, wow, that guy sounds exactly like Robert Fleischman. Turns out it is Robert Fleischman. So I was like, yeah, I gotta get that. Dakota, I don't know any songs on this one, but holy shit, the song Runaway is so good. This is a fantastic album. I did listen to samples of this one, and it sounded just as good as the other one. I have listened to the full album at my job, where I work part-time in a record store, because we had a copy of this on vinyl. So I was like, yep, let's give it a spin and see if I like all of it, and obviously I did. So that was my purchase from Rock Candy. As you can see all the fun little skulls. I don't know why they have the Rock Candy skull up there, but it helps you find them. I remember at the Electric Fetus in Minneapolis, in their used bin, there were a bunch of skulls and stuff, and I just wasn't thinking at that point. So that was what I did not own. What I have either recently purchased or already owned over the course of the last few years is what is coming up next. And some of these I do have quite a bit of an opinion about. Shy, Brave the Storm, and Shy, Access All Areas. Both brilliant albums, but Shy, Brave the Storm edges out Access All Areas a bit more because I have actually had an old version of Shy, Brave the Storm. Let me see. It's right here. This was on Zoom Club Records, which I still keep because it does have a live. Yeah, I think it has the same live songs, Behind Closed Doors, Two Hearts. But what this has that the Rock Candy doesn't have is all the lyrics. And I've said this before on my videos, I'll say it again. King Diamond ruined me because I used to listen to Abigail like crazy, and Abigail cassette did not have the lyrics, and I didn't know what the fuck he was saying. Oops, sorry. I did not know what the heck he was saying, and it always bugged me, the fact that I couldn't tell what he was saying. I remember seeing, I think the vinyl or the CD later on when I started buying CDs, had all the lyrics, but I had made up so many lyrics that didn't actually exist. I bought these recently, and of course at that time I wasn't keeping the hype sticker if it didn't work out. Legs Diamond were a band that I kind of avoided. I think I heard this early on when I was younger, when this came out. Of course, everybody is like looking at the butt, and I think there's boobs underneath there. But this ended up being pretty damn good. But some of their earlier ones, Land of the Gun, this first one was called Town Bad Girl. We got Firepower. This was the one that kind of grabbed me. Firepower and Diamond. What is it called? A Diamond is a Hard Rock. What's this one called? Out on Bail. And self-titled Legs Diamond. So Legs Diamond were, I believe, yep, they were from US. I had to actually check to see if they were from the US because a lot of Rock Candy stuff tends to come out, and they're like Canadian bands, so it's always weird. Sorry, I have like a weird hair or something like that. Anyway, this is a weird fucking video. Oh, sorry again. Keel, The Final Frontier. It took me forever to get this, and I didn't really want the Rock Candy version, but when I got it, I was like super happy about it because it sounds so good. I didn't have another version to like do an A/B comparison against, but it sounds really good. And that, I think, was part of why I was able to embrace Rock Candy, because a lot of the time some of these, well, most of these CDs are impossible to find any other way on CD, or they're really hard to find, like Dakota and any of those 13 that I showed. You're just like, well, this is the only way to get it. So Helix, Wild in the Streets, I used to have this on cassette, and it was the only Helix that I ever owned, and I always wanted Long Way to Heaven because the song Deep Cuts the Knife is on this album, and that song is so awesome. I basically grabbed everything from No Rest for the Wicked, Walking the Razor's Edge, Long Way to Heaven, Wild in the Streets, and the next one, which is called Back for Another Taste, and that's kind of where I start and stop with Helix. I might go a little further if I found things used or really good prices, but even my buddy Rob says the first few, anything before No Rest for the Wicked is this is kind of like their first band album, you know. I think it's like their second or third. I think it's their third album, maybe their fourth. We call this Departure album, but yeah, Deep Cuts the Knife is the shit on here. I found this for $5 used a few years ago. I can tell you exactly when. Wow, 2017. I found this, and for $5, I thought, yeah, I'll give it a shot because I was already into my hair metal phase during that time, which, as you can see, is right here. And a lot of these bands belong to the either hair metal or classic rock era. I put a lot of them in the hair metal or glam metal or whatever you want to call that, like the 80s stuff, because it's just easier for me to find. But a band like Heaven's Edge, of course, they just fall right into that category. Well, there is another one that I don't. There we go. Coney Hatch. So here is like a good example. Very Canadian band. I don't even know what that even means. But they had 3, and so we have, this is self-titled, I think, first one, Out of Hand, and my favorite one is Friction. Sorry about all this glare, but I just want good light, and unfortunately these CDs all come in jewel cases, or are they fortunate that they come in jewel cases? I would rather have a jewel case. Another bit of advice, you should be watching this at double the speed, because even though I'm talking pretty fast, it's so much more enjoyable when I'm way faster. Also, or maybe at 1.75%. But yeah, you don't want to have to listen to me for a full like 40 minutes or something like that. Just shove it down to 20. So that is the first portion of older rock candy stuff. And let me grab the second stack of. So here is one of those albums that was at that store that still remained even like months later, is Desmond Child and Rouge, Runners in the Night. There was also another Desmond Child one, but it wasn't a rock candy one, so I'm not showing that. And if you don't know who Desmond Child is, he is the guy who wrote or co-wrote like Living on a Prayer, I Was Made for Loving You. He's got a fantastic voice. Even like within the last like 5-10 years, he does a great version, live version of Kiss's I Was Made for Loving You. So anything that has Desmond Child or like Bob Halligan Jr. Co-writing things, I always will give, at least a little bit of a shot to, because they're more than likely going to be awesome. Just look at Desmond Child's like songwriting history, and you'll go, holy shit, this guy's written a lot of stuff that I love. Donnie Iris. So my buddy Ryan gave me all these Donnie Iris CDs that were like kind of weird older versions because he had gotten all of these Rock Candy reissues, and I liked them enough. And there was sales going around. I am using my hands today like crazy. A lot of sales going on about or with Rock Candy through the distributor that my store goes through. So I was able to get things where they would be like $11.99 as retail prices rather than the 15 or 16 or 18.99 retail prices. And then I would get my discount on them. So I decided, you know what, I'll get all the Donnie Iris. Which one was it that I had to? I had to order this one. So this album is called King Cool. This one is called Back on the Streets. And if you don't know about Donnie Iris, the greatest thing to look out for is he is the one who's doing all the vocals. I don't know if they were able to replicate any of the vocal majesty live because he was doing all the vocals. And the one song that you will know is Ali. That's AH apostrophe LEAH apostrophe, or no, exclamation point part, sorry, exclamation. But when you hear that song, you will go, oh, I've heard that song. So he also had The High and the Mighty and Fortune 410. This is a early Rock Candy one that I purchased when I was still in my hatred towards Rock Candy phase, and that is Kansas Drastic Measures. This was like the only way I could find the damn thing for the longest time. Since then, Music on CD has redone it. I have both this version and the Music on CD version. Music on CD is another great like redoing versions like label, because what they do is they take the original stuff exactly how it was originally released and just do carbon copies of it. It's nothing is changed, it's the exact thing. So there's like a Power Mad one for Absolute Power. It's the exact same thing. It's a great way for all these out of print albums to finally be reprinted. And they don't go out of print quite as quickly as some things do. There's also CD or not CD. What is it called? Universal Japan. So they've done some Pat Benatar. They did like Leather Wolf. Like I said, they're doing the icon things. Those again are also the exact same thing as the original releases. But if they didn't have lyrics before, because they're Japanese, they tend to add all the lyrics plus liner notes in Japanese. And if you use a Google Translate app, you can click the phone and look at it on your phone, and it'll translate all the Japanese liner notes, which is how I finally read all my dead end stuff. But yeah, this was a good example of a really good sounding mastering before I learned to stop hating Rock Candy and learned to love them. These I was getting in the absolute height of my prog rock phase. So Rock Candy usually doesn't do a lot of proggy stuff, but for some reason they did these 3 Starcastle albums. So this is the first one. This is Citadel, and this one is Fountain of Light. I think I bought all 3 of these the same night. And if you've never heard Starcastle, if you love Yes and want to hear a band that sounds almost exactly like Yes, maybe trimming some of the excess what do you call it? Um, Quirky self-indulgence from Yes, and having more precise songs, because nothing is really long with their stuff, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I listened to these, but the singer sounds very much like John Anderson, but maybe not all the little quirky things that John Anderson does that kind of bug me. I had uh, the original versions where it comes with the lyrics and stuff, but I believe I found these both used and just thought, you know what? I was in a total like I gotta have everything Armored Saint phase. March of the Saint and Delirious Nomad. I think these were the only two that they did. So sometimes they do. It's weird. They'll do a lot of like AOR kind of hair metal stuff. Then they'll do like kind of traditional metal or whatever you want to call Armored Saint. They'll do some prog rock. Um, they'll do Rick Springfield. I had been looking for Tao for the longest time, and then finally I was able to get it on CD. I was trying to avoid the Rock Candy one. This was, of course, before my love of Rock Candy. But Pino Palladino's fretless bass on this album is fantastic. And Rick said this was kind of like a dark period in his life. So this is a very dark album, kind of. I mean, I don't know how you can say it's a super dark album when the song Celebrate Youth is on there. That song has so much positivity and joy that it's just like, what? This song is so good. Celebrate you, celebrate. Look into the child's eyes. What is that? What is that lyric? Look into the child's eyes. There's no hate and there's no lie. There's no black and there's no white. I think something like that. I screwed up. I have two different versions of Hughes and Thrall. The original version and then this version. This version, the reason I had to get this one is because A, it was used, and B, because it has two bonus tracks on it. And if you don't know who Glenn Hughes is, he played bass and sang in Trapeze. And then when they got rid of Roger Glover and Ian Gillan, they got David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes for Deep Purple. He's also sang on Black Sabbath's Seventh Star. He was also in um, some of the Gary Moore Run for Cover songs. Uh, he did a bunch of solo stuff, and he's in Black Country Communion. So give this album a shot. This, The Look in Your Eye, Muscle and Blood. I loved that song as a kid. Now I'm just like, yeah, it's not the best song on here, but for some reason I loved it as a kid. Let's start with the first one, Gamma. So they have Gamma 1, 2, and 3. And this is a band full of people. Let me put this up here. But this has Ronnie Montrose in it, and Alan Fitzgerald from Night Ranger plays bass guitar on Gamma 1. There's also Jim Alcavar on synthesizers, Davey Pattison on vocals, and Skip Gillette on drums. But the key for me was Ronnie Montrose and the fact that Alan Fitzgerald were on this. On the second album, though, Alan Fitzgerald is gone. And I was going to get these. There's a box set by Cherry Red, but I decided, we have two of them at my store where I can get my 20% off, and I was able to order the third one. Recently, A customer named Pete comes in, and sometimes he'll come in and be like, "Hey, I've got this much to spend. Anything I should like check out or get into?" I gave him a huge list of just tons of metal, and at one point, I pointed this out, which is Vicious Rumors' self-titled album, which was their third album after um, Soldier of the Night, which had Vinnie Moore and a different singer, and then they did Digital Dictator, which is their best album in my opinion. Those two were on Shrapnel. They did a couple for Atlantic, and these are the two that Rock Candy reissued. He bought this and he was like, "Holy shit, that Vicious Rumors is so good." Um, so uh, Normally I'm not super influenced by what customers are getting and stuff like that, because if I was, I would go down a bunch of rabbit holes. And not because I already know things and whatever, it's just that I try not, I don't know what I'm hinting at, but because Pete got into Vicious Rumors, that made me just go, shit, should I get more Vicious Rumors? Because I only had Digital Dictator, and I have since bought Soldiers of the Night through Amazon, and then I bought two other ones yesterday at work, and the other day, I think it was Tuesday, I spied both of these. I had ordered Welcome to the Ball, so it would be there when Pete wanted to delve deeper into Vicious Rumors, but then I just had to get it. We're reordering it. Don't worry. Pete'll get it. But I got him into Hellstar. He's digging Hellstar. And the funny thing is, I didn't realize it, but James Rivera in Hellstar, from Hellstar, sang on Warball by Vicious Rumors. If you don't know, this is their weird little logo thing, or like their kind of mascot, and Welcome to the Ball has that on the cover. I don't know what the heck that thing is, but after Welcome to the Ball, though, they did one other album with their singer named Carl Albert, and then he tragically died in a car accident. There are videos out there with Carl's son singing along with Vicious Rumors live, and he sounds exactly like his dad, and I really wish he would sing for them. But they've had some really good other singers, and honestly, James Rivera is the one that didn't fit for me as much as other guys, like Brian Allen and even Nick Holloman or something like that. But I'm gonna still get them all. I have a live one with Brian singing, and then oh god, another one that I got for $5 on Amazon that has another guy singing, and it's his only version or only album. I'd been kind of hoping I could find this used and just the original version, but I had to finally break down and get the Scream because I never owned it. I have everything by Dead Daisies. I have that Motley Crue album. I don't have any of the John Corabi solo stuff, but I think he's a pretty damn good singer, and I love that Motley Crue album that he sang on. I like a lot of the Dead Daisies stuff, and he's back in Dead Daisies after 2 albums with Glenn Hughes, the man himself. FM. So this is a band that I remember seeing this album, which is Tough It Out, and they never were on my radar. They just seemed like a weird UK band. I hate the name. And then after kind of like the disillusion of, or not disillusion, the end of Fate's Warning as a recording band, Jim Mathios and the singer from FM, also known as, what is his name? I don't even know his name. I'll recognize it as soon as I see it, but what is your stupid name? Steve Overland. Steve Overland and Jim Mathios started a new band with Joey Vera on bass and Simon Phillips on drums. I don't think they have ever been in the same room, and they've done 2 albums, and they are called Kings of Mercia. The albums are awesome. They are kind of heavier AOR, and his voice is still fantastic, but these are really, really good. I think I prefer this one a little bit more than this one, but they're kind of apples to apples there. I already owned a lot of the last few. Yeah, actually. Rough Cut's second album. What is this called? Rough Cut Wants You. Some of these are going on to a hey Ryan, you didn't know you liked these hair metal bands, but here you go. And if anybody gets offended by the term hair metal, you all know exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about hair metal. And if you get offended by it, then you're lame. But the song Bad Reputation is totally going on that mixed CD. I'm making him a MP3 disc that's going to have a ton of this stuff on there, stuff that he hasn't heard. But Bad Reputation has got to go on there. I love Paul Shortino. Let's just talk about the other Rock Candy Paul Shortino album, Quiet Riot's self-titled album. After they got rid of that loudmouth Kevin DuBrow, they got him to sing on this. This is the best thing Quiet Riot ever did, and I love this album. I have 2 versions. I have the original version. I have this version. I used to have it on vinyl. I had it on cassette. So good. So good. A band that just eluded me for years and years, and my buddy Glenn was like, you got to get that Ty Ketto. Danny Vaughn is such a great singer, and I want the Vaughn stuff. And then he had another project that was really cool too. I can't remember the name of that, but just the opening track on here, Forever Young, is just vocally amazing. So good. Lion, I'll talk a bit about this. So Lion were the one band that I decided to keep it, even though it's super brick walled. I have a, let me see, I have original, like, I think this is a Japanese press. I'm not 100% sure. With some slight water damage by Scotty Brothers. But this one has all the lyrics, which is awesome. So that's why it's not going anywhere. And this actually sounds way better than this. This is so brick walled, so clipping on some of the songs, like Hard and Heavy. I think that's the song I did. But the wave files, if you throw it into like a recording program, the wave file on this one has so much dynamic range. This, it's just like a brick of just noise. So sometimes I can't recommend them as much. This is one that, because it's so hard to find like this, I paid $40 for this, and that was like probably 10 years ago. But you got to get this if you can find it, because it is fantastic. I love this. It's Doug Ulrich, Mark Edwards, what was the bass player's name? Jerry Best, and Cal Swan on vocals. They went off to start Bad Moon Rising with just Cal, the singer, and the guitarist, along with Ken Mary and a bassist whose name I cannot remember. But Armed and Dangerous is so fantastic. Just get it. no matter, yeah, I mean, because you're not going to do an A and B comparison. I highly recommend this. And last but not least, the original version sounds just perfect anyway. This has a little bit of a boost in the like the lows and some of the volume, but Blue Murder's first album, holy shit, Tony Franklin's fretless bass on this is worth the price of admission. This is a 45-minute video. I hope you're watching it in double time and you can still tell what I'm saying. I'm gonna let you go. That was my Rock Candy video.